Hi everybody, Captain Al speaking with your time training tips and 10 ticks targeted to teaching technical type transport travel through tailored tiny takeaways. The question for today, episode 8, part 1, what FMS-CDU exercises do airline pilots need to know? Modifying the active waypoint on the Boeing 747-400 and Boeing 747-8. Okay, we're in the virtual simulator to answer the question for today. What CDU exercises do airline pilots need to know as they go through training? Normally they do these CDU exercises in the flight training device, which is part of the ground training. It usually continues on into the full flight simulator, and then of course they have to demonstrate their knowledge of the FMC on their checkride as well. So today we're going to look at going present position direct to the active waypoint and intercepting a leg to the active waypoint. I did a segment on CDU exercises part 1 and part 2 about 2 to 3 years ago, but it was in the iFly 747, and at that time there were some inaccuracies in that particular model. So we're in the PSX 747-400, which is much more accurate. And so I thought I'd do an update on CDU exercises. So we're just coming up on 10,000. We'll continue the climb to flight level 380. Again, we're out of Miami going to Minneapolis. We're on the SID departure at this time. And we'll resume the VNAV climb. And let's look at, first of all, going present position direct to a new waypoint to modify the active waypoint. So you'll see here we're just approaching Fork. We're going to make a left turn to Borley. The active waypoint is always in magenta on the ND. Right now it's Fork, but it's going to change in 0.6 miles to Borley. And you'll see as it switches, Fork will go white and Borley will go magenta. And now Borley is the active waypoint. We can also find this on the legs page for page 1. Borley is at the top of page 1 in the L1 position. That's the active waypoint. You always want to be careful that you're not on page 3 or 4 or 5. And then this waypoint that's at the top here at L1 is not the active waypoint. It's a downtrack waypoint. All downtrack waypoints are white. There's only one active waypoint, and that waypoint is magenta, and that's found on page 1 of the legs page. So if we go back, Borley is at the top of page 1, and that's good. That's what we want. Let's bring up our range a little bit more so we can see. Let's say we want to go present position direct to Winco. So we're going to bypass Borley and Megan to go to Winco. And what we do is bring Winco to the scratch pad, make sure the scratch pad is clear before you do that, and then bring Winco to the top. And when you do that, you'll notice that there's a dashed white line that's going from our present position direct to Winco. It will show a modified legs page. The 314 course is the course from the tip of the triangle. If I bring down the range a little bit, tip of the triangle all the way to Winco is that 314 course. There is a intercept course that is the previous inbound course to Winco, which in this case from Megan to Winco is 324, and that's in case you want to intercept a leg to Winco, and it creates the previous remembered inbound course into Winco from Megan. But in this case we just want to go direct to Winco, so we've done what we need to do. And when we execute this, of course, watch that the modified becomes active, the erase prompt goes away, the intercept course goes away, the beam points and route copy all go away. So let's execute that now. You'll notice it goes active legs page. Notice Winco is now the active waypoint. It bypassed Borley and the other point, and now the airplane is turning in LNAV to go direct to Winco. We're out of the transition altitude now. We'll go to standard out of 18,000. If we bring on our station switch, we can see there's a couple stations out here. Let's say we want to go present position direct to RSW. So, and that's not part of our route. So we can't line select to the scratch pad, we have to type it out. So we'll type out RSW and put it at the top. And you'll notice that when the computer accepts it, we have a modified legs page. RSW is the modified active waypoint. We have a dashed white line going direct to RSW. We have an erase prompt. We have intercept course boxes. And notice we don't have a course here because there was no previous inbound course to RSW. So there is no remembered course. So as a result, the computer will give you boxes in case you want to put in a course. In our case, we just want to go direct, so we don't want to put in a course. So there's RSW. Normally the pilot monitoring would do this. He would put it in, say there's RSW, how do you like it? And then I would say I like it, execute. Then he would say LNAV available, and then I would say LNAV engaged. If I needed to push LNAV, I would push LNAV. If I don't need to push LNAV, I would not push LNAV. So in this case, we're already in LNAV going to Winco. And when I execute this, it's going to stay in LNAV and go to RSW. But if I was in heading select, then I would need to push LNAV and engage LNAV. And so his LNAV available call is a good call because it just reminds me that I have to check LNAV on the FMA and make sure I am in LNAV for the airplane to go direct to RSW. So let's execute that. When you execute that, the execute light will extinguish. The intercept course will go away, the erase prompt will go away, modified will become active. And notice there is the discontinuity in here because the computer has no idea what you want to do after RSW. You have to tell it. So we'll go ahead and execute that. You'll notice boxes went away, erase prompt went away, modified became active, and the airplane turns to RSW. This dashed white line goes to solid magenta. And now we need to tell the computer what do we want to do after RSW. Let's say the clearance is to go to Sherry. So we'll bring Sherry to the scratch pad, make sure the scratch pad is blank. Bring Sherry down and fill in the boxes, which closes the route discontinuity. And you can see it's done that there, and then we can execute that. When you execute that, this segment's going to go away, and we're going to have this segment to this segment. So let's execute that. You'll see modified becomes active, erase prompt goes away, and now we get the segment to Sherry. And now let's say ATC gives us a turn, and they say turn right to a heading of, well, let's make it 350. So we're in LNAV, we go to heading select, the airplane will turn the shortest direction to 350, which would be a right turn. And then they say we'd like you to intercept the 130 radial of Papa India Echo and track it inbound. Intercept the 130 radial of Papa India Echo and track it inbound. Well, Papa India Echo is not part of my route. I look at my legs page and I see if it's here on page 1. I can go to page 2 and search for it. It's not there. Well, I can see it here because I have my station switch on, but I might not have that on, so it might look like this. So in this case, I know it's not part of my legs page, so I need to type it out. Papa India Echo. Line select that to the top. And the computer will put it in. Notice there are two Papa India Echoes. One's at north and west, and the other one is at north and west. So now we have to be a little more careful because usually the second one could be on the other side of the world, and it would be easy to see that this is south and this is east. Or, you know, it might be north and east, it might be south and west, but it's on the other side of the hemisphere. In this case, they are the same, so we need to be a little bit careful, but I know I'm in Florida, and Florida is north 27, and this is down by the equator, so I know it's going to be this one, and usually, not always, but usually it's the first one, because that's the closest one to your position. So we'll select that one, and look on your ND to verify it, and there it is. And then we want to intercept that the 130 radial. And the 130 radial would be, well, let's make it the 120 radial now since we're continuing to fly. The 120 radial would be the 300 inbound course. We'd have to take the reciprocal of the radial, because radials are always from, and we want to go to the station. So when you get a problem like this, we'd have to take the reciprocal of the radial, which he gave us was 120, and add 180 to that. That'd be 300, and then we can line select that, type it out, and line select it into the boxes. And then you'll see that it will draw a dashed white line that extends for 699 nautical miles. And you'll notice the course here goes big, 300, and the course here may be a degree or two off, and that's fine because this figure's great circle, so it's going to change by a degree or two or three, and that's fine. So we look at it on our ND and see if it makes sense. For the 120 radial out of Papa India Echo, and we're going to track it inbound, which is the 300 inbound course. And you'll notice that if I bring my range up to 640, it's a little cluttered. I can turn off these stations. But you'll notice that that dashed white line is still showing. So it doesn't matter what range you go to, it's a 699 nautical mile. As far as we're concerned, it goes for infinity line that extends out, so you can't miss it, basically. So no matter what range I'm in, I'm going to see it. And of course, if I go to my 160 mile range, now you can see it. So we'll go ahead and execute that. When you execute that, the erase prompt goes away, execute light goes out, 300 is the course. This may be a couple degrees difference, that's fine. So we'll go ahead and execute that, and you'll notice it changes to 302. That's a great circle course. And then after Papa India Echo, we need to tell it where to go. But first, we're going to see that we're in heading select, and we're going to go ahead and arm LNAV then. Remember, our pilot monitoring would probably say there's the 120 radial or the 300 inbound course. How do you like it? I like it. Execute. LNAV's available. And then I would reach up and push LNAV and say LNAV is armed. It's armed for engagement. It's going to intercept when it gets approximately 2.5 nautical miles from the active route. If you go to progress page 2, you'll see right now we're 18.8 cross-track error. So depending on the intercept angle and the closure rate and the speed, it will determine, the computer will determine, or the autoflight system will determine when to turn into Papa India Echo. So if I'm coming at this thing 90 degrees at a fast speed, it may intercept at 6 miles out. If I'm coming in at a shallow intercept angle at a slow speed, it may intercept at 1 nautical mile out. So it really depends on what your intercept angle is and your closure rate and things like that to where it exactly captures. But the book answer is 2.5 nautical miles approximately is where it will go into LNAV and go green and then track inbound to Papa India Echo. Let's say after that ATC says after Papa India Echo, direct to Amori on course. So we go to legs page, we close the discontinuity by going, we don't see Amori here. We go to the next page and there's Amori. Bring Amori to the scratch pad, make sure the scratch pad is blank. Go to the previous page and put it into the boxes, and then that'll close up that discontinuity. We'll execute it, the erase prompt, the execute light modified becomes active, and we're going to bypass all this other stuff that's on the screen right now when we do that. So you notice now we've cleaned up our route. And if we wanted to, we could see that we're going to, again, if we go to progress page 2, we're 7.6. Let's see where it intercepts. And there, 2 point, yeah, it was just about 2.5 where it captured. That completes part 1, which is going present position direct to a waypoint and intercepting a leg to a waypoint. Thanks for watching.